Hi, guys. Welcome back to the baseline. Thanks for watching. So the White House just called Netanyahu a madman. And that's just the beginning of all this. So hold on tight because it's getting crazy. Now, you ever hear something so wild, so off the wall that your first thought isn't, is that true? It's, did someone actually say that out loud? And that's interesting because that's kind of what's going on right now. But we'll buckle up because someone inside the White House did that. And they didn't whisper it either. They leaked it out. And the quote is, Bibi acted like a madman. He bombs everything all the time. And that's not some random guy on X. That's the White House official, allegedly, right? Now, he's talking about Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, our so-called closest ally in the Middle East. So the real question now is, if Netanyahu's out of control, why is America handing him the remote? And we're going to dive into this one because I think Israel just bombed Syria, and here's what's really going on. A missile strike hit the Syrian presidential palace. Smoke, fire, debris, a literal explosion in the middle of downtown Damascus. And right as that mushroom cloud rose over the Capitol, the temperature in Washington spiked as well. Now, Axios reporters actually broke this story, right? Citing that U.S. officials who are fed up with Netanyahu. Why? Because every time Trump or any United States president really tries to play some high-stakes Middle East chess, Bibi walks in with a flamethrower and sets the board completely on fire. Now, here's the part that's not on the front page yet. Trump risked it all to start thawing relationships with Syria. He shook hands with al-Shara, a guy who with alleged links to al-Qaeda, and said, let's rebuild, let's re-engage. That's actually good thinking, right? And just as that bold, risky play starts to take shape, boom, Netanyahu drops a strike that could kill the whole deal altogether. Now, the question is why? Is it strategy? Is it self-preservation? So keep that question in your back pocket because what's coming next, it changes a lot of things. Now, the Madman leak. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the quote heard around the West Wing. And Axios says a White House official anonymously called Netanyahu a madman. Now, it wasn't in jest either, not in a diplomatic memo, but in actual anger, because they believe he's actively undermining the United States interests, not just acting unilaterally, but recklessly. And this isn't just over Syria, it's over Gaza, the West Bank, even the Vatican. So let me see if I can explain this, right? The priest, the Pope, and the church, okay? And while the world was busy arguing over ceasefires, another bomb dropped literally. Israeli forces allegedly hit the only Catholic church in Gaza. Now, they destroyed it. They killed a priest who, by the way, had personal ties to the Pope Francis. Now, you want to talk about crossing red lines. Well, this wasn't a strategic strike on a weapons depot. It wasn't self-defense. It seems to be more symbolic. I don't know. It was spiritual. It was certainly catastrophic. So now, in private calls and quiet corners, even Trump, yes, Trump is reportedly demanding answers from Netanyahu. And that raises the following question. When do these unofficial leaks stop being whispers and start being actual policy? Now, why is Trump taking this risk? And is it falling apart? let's try to rewind a little bit. Okay, so Trump pulled a Nixon goes to China, a move akin to kind of what's happening in Syria. He shook hands with a guy who used to roll with terrorists. Why? Because he saw an opening, right? He wanted to normalize relations, lift trade bans, and rebuild trust. I think that's actually a good thing. And maybe even unlock a future peace deal. It was controversial, it was gutsy, and it was working slowly until Netanyahu rolled in with his airstrikes. The one that hit the palace in Damascus. Now, Netanyahu claims it was to protect the Druze, a minority group under pressure in Syria. But the United States sees something else. I think they see a deliberate torpedo to fragile a diplomatic bridge. So again, why? Why now? Well, let me see if we can get into what's really going on here, right? So what is the Netanyahu survival playbook? And here might be the dirty little secret that headlines won't necessarily tell you. Netanyahu isn't just fighting wars abroad. He's fighting for his life, politically and legally. So the second he steps down as prime minister, it's likely he's facing indictment, court cases, even possible prison time. So what do desperate leaders do when their power starts to slip? Well, they wag the dog. I don't know if you guys remember that movie from way back, but they bomb targets, they stir up the far-right nationalist base, and they turn war into a campaign ad. And right now, Netanyahu's coalition in Israel is crumbling. He's lost members of his ultra-Orthodox bloc, his parliamentary, the majority is gone, and he's clinging to office by sheer will at this point. And it's a military spectacle. Now, here's the displacement nobody's really talking about, right? Meanwhile, while all this stuff is happening in Gaza, the destruction isn't just military, it's demographic. Entire neighborhoods have been leveled. No homes to return to, no cities left to rebuild. And while the bombs fall, Israel officials have openly floated a plan. Force Gaza's Palestinian population to leave. Well, they're basically saying, find another country to take them, ship them out, get rid of them. Now, that's not just controversial. That's a Geneva Convention violation. It's a violation of international law. That's dangerously close. It's not dangerously close. It is ethnic cleansing. And yet, Western powers keep quiet or leak their anger anonymously because if they say it out loud, they risk breaking the special relationship. And nobody wants to be the president who abandoned Israel. But at some point, we all have to ask, if your ally keeps crossing your red lines, are they still really your ally? Or just a liability with good public relations? Now, where is this headed? Look, I'm not saying Trump's about to pull the plug. He's unpredictable. He knows publicly breaking with Israel could cost him politically. So what? So instead he leaks, he calls, he pressures? I don't know. He lets the media do the dirty work for him? But if these strikes continue, if churches burn, priests die, and Gaza turns into, or the population turns into a permanent exile, the world will reach a breaking point. And Trump, he may not have a choice in all this but to pivot. But here is the nightmare scenario. Netanyahu drags the United States into another Middle East conflict. Not for strategy, not for democracy, but for personal survival. It's crazy, guys. And people are dying, and it seems like, I don't know, guys. But the next time you hear the word ally, ask yourself, ally to who? To peace? To stability? or to one man trying to outrun the law with a smoking missile launcher? And here's another twist of this stuff. None of this matters if America's foreign policy is still being written in smoke. Anywho, guys, we're going to be watching this a little bit deeply over the next few days. We'll see what happens when U.S.-Israel relationships kind of break, or do they stick together? I don't know. And then who's going to fill that vacuum? I don't know. We'll have to kind of explore all that. Let me know what you guys think about all this that's going on. Is Israel our ally? Is Netanyahu a madman? Is Trump doing the right thing by trying to normalize relations in the Middle East? I think those are all comments I would love to hear from you guys. So put it in the comment section below, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Baseline. And thank you guys so much for watching. All right. Cheers, everybody.